title of my paper is Plurality and Diversity. There's a slight change from dialogue to hospitality. It's not difficult to recognize the diversity and plurality that characterize our modern world. There's diversity in lifestyle, beliefs, values, which highlights the plurality of identities. And from this recognition of diversity and plurality, we also realize the interconnectedness of people. While plurality and diversity and recognition of our inherent interconnectedness are something to marvel and appreciate, we should also realize the fact that there are downsides to such phenomena. Such plurality and diversity can pose certain challenges, particularly to the harmony and peace of the world, especially if certain groups and individuals do not recognize and respect this plurality and diversity. In effect, the interconnectedness of people is also undermined. Certain groups could ignore this plurality and diversity and just remain enclosed and confined in their own selves and not reach out to other groups. Some can just hold on tenaciously on their own beliefs and values and dismiss the others either as outright wrong or unacceptable, or may just be indifferent and do not mind other groups and peoples. Others can be aggressive and impose their own values and beliefs on others that often results to violence. Now, there is a need to appreciate our plurality and diversity and enhance more our interconnectedness. But in order for this to happen, there must be space for dialogue. A dialogue among individuals and groups of different religious, cultural, ethical, and social backgrounds, based on respect, understanding, and openness. While we affirm our own identities, our cultural values, and beliefs, we can also be understanding and sensitive to our differences and be hospitable to others. Understanding religious and cultural diversity. Diversity of religious expressions, beliefs, and practices can be understood as the response of man or a human spirit to the different revelatory experiences. The diversity of religious or religions is the manifestation of man's diverse responses to the different religious experiences, which ultimately are expressions of the creativity of the human spirit. God revealed himself to man in different historical moments, and man responded to that revelation, and his response emanated from his creativity. So religious expressions are manifestations of the creativity of the human spirit. Aside from religion, every particular human society has its own culture, which overlaps with other systems. The variations among culture is attributable not only to physical habitats and resources, but more so to the range of possibilities inherent in various areas of activities like language, rituals, and customs, and the manufacture and use of tools. Cultural expressions are manifestations of the creativity of the human spirit. The human spirit expresses itself into different modes of life and different human activities, hence the diversity of human culture. We can therefore say the diversity of culture is the various expression of one nature, and that is the human nature. But if diversity in cultural expressions is a manifestation of creativity and of the human spirit, what would account for the coherence and harmony of these diverse expressions? Human creativity emanates from the human spirit. And if the human spirit will express itself in different ways, it is the same human spirit that provides for the coherence and harmony of the diversity of religious and cultural expressions. Yes, religions and cultures are diverse, but they are one because they emerge from the same human spirit. The diverse religious and cultural expressions are but manifestations of the creative response of the human spirit to the divine revelation based on their own cultural ground. The challenges of religious plurality and diversity. While the plurality of religion and diversity of cultures and the connectedness of people are phenomena that need to be appreciated, they can also pose certain challenges and difficulties. First, it could pose challenges or challenge to one's identity, to the identity of religion and culture. The interconnectedness of people can be an avenue where one group, either religious or cultural, can be a threat to the identity of other religious or cultural groups. So other groups can undermine or threaten one's identity, religious or cultural identity. It is but natural to affirm one's identity or self in the midst of the diversity. But once we focus on ourselves and see ourselves as separate and independent and regard the other as different self, which can threaten our identity and can undermine our independence, then plurality can be problematic for the self or for the identity of one group. Similarly, one's particular religion or culture focuses on itself alone and sees other cultures not only as different but as a rival or a threat to one's cultural identity, then plurality becomes problematic. The common question now is, how do we preserve our own respective religious and cultural identities in the midst of this plurality and diversity? Secondly, it can also pose challenges to the very plurality and diversity and to the very interconnectedness of people. While the world is characterized by plurality and diversity, it also strives for unity or harmony among these diverse and unique religions and cultural identities. There's a need to maintain a balance between and cohesion between the diverse and unique religions and cultural identities in order for us to have peace and harmony. Now, this is not to say that to affirm one's identity is wrong or selfish, or that plurality and diversity are bad or negative by themselves. However, there could be negative attitudes and perceptions as regards to this plurality and diversity. It is these negative perceptions and attitudes of people about identity and plurality that give this phenomena a negative connotation. These negative perceptions and attitudes are manifested in different forms: fundamentalism, exclusivism, indifference, and violence. Once a particular religion is threatened by the outside influence, like secularism or other religions, it will try to reaffirm its fundamental doctrines and teachings in order to safeguard their core value system. The same goes with a particular culture. Once a particular culture is threatened, it could retreat to its core values and beliefs. It is a kind of defense mechanism that when one is threatened, one tends to hold on to one's core values, to one's fundamental beliefs. The threat could either be real or perceived, but just the same, whether real or perceived, one way of protecting one's identity is to cling to it with tenacity. The threat could either be coming from the outside or the inside, but whether the threat is real or actual, external or internal, the threat is always viewed as a kind of crisis that must be addressed. And the fundamentalist response is to be more vigilant or militant in safeguarding his basic or fundamental beliefs. Such perception has resulted to a variety of consequences. One is a tendency to be exclusivist in one's belief and to regard the others as wrong, as promoting decadence and corruption of faith and morality. Another consequence is the attitude of indifference to other religions or apathy towards other religions. Another is the attitude of domination and imposition of one's beliefs and ideas to others. And the worst is the attitude of extremism and violence, which promotes destruction of others. Pluralism and dialogue. Despite the challenges that plurality and diversity pose to the modern world, we're optimistic that these challenges can be addressed as we learn how to accept and be understanding of our religious and cultural differences. After all, there are more commonalities than differences among peoples. Though the human spirit may have diverse creative expressions, we all still belong to the same humanity. Two of the frameworks that help us understand and deal with plurality and diversity are pluralism and dialogue. Both help us understand and deal with plurality and diversity. Both are dynamic engagements that allow us to relate and communicate with people in a positive way.